What is going on, everyone? Dominic Dominator with the Veterans Den channel, bringing you a reaction video, or should I say, I'm going to be reacting to two videos in this video, and it has to do with the Los Angeles Fire Department Fire Chief Kristin Crowley, or should I say, the former fire chief, because she was fired yesterday. So Kristin Crowley did two interviews yesterday, and the outcome of those two interviews was she was let go by Karen Bass, and I'm talking about the Karen Bass that doesn't like to say anything.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor?
So yes, that Karen Bass, the one who doesn't like to answer questions that probably many Californians want to know. But Kristin Crowley did two interviews, and she pretty much called out people. So without further ado, let's go look at the very first video, the one that was done yesterday morning, and then we'll look at the one that was done later on in the afternoon with CNN, and then shortly after that, she got let go. So let's watch the first video.
Period. Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say justifiably what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
So right there, you can tell that she was hesitant. She was asked twice, did they fail you? Which I believe, yeah. I mean, she was part of the failure, but I believe Gavin Newsom failed all of California. I believe Karen Bass failed Los Angeles County, the city of Los Angeles, everybody around there, and the fire chief by cutting their pay. Now, does that remove Kristin Crowley from owning up to what she did wrong? No, because I think she still needs to be held accountable. But she's just one of many cogs in this machine that cause problems. And you can tell that she was very hesitant to call people out, or should I say just saying, yeah, they failed me. She was hesitant, but she still answered. So let's see what else she has to say.
Chief Kristin Crowley, I believe the anchors wanted to ask a question.
Yes,
there had some comments.
We do, Gigi. If you could please ask her regarding the Times article that came out that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was closed to repairs and it was empty. 117 million gallons of water could have been used in this fight.
The question is about the Santa Ynez Reservoir being empty. There's been a lot of questions about that.
Sure. So my stance on this is when a firefighter comes up to a hydrant, we expect there's going to be water. We don't control the water supply. Our firefighters are there to protect lives and property and to make sure that we're properly trained and equipped. That's my position on this. So if there's no water, I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants. Please defer that to DWP or whomever controls that part. But I can tell you the resiliency of our firefighters, if there's no water, they're going to go find water.
So I really don't know how the whole water situation works. I imagine they all work together. I do feel that whatever, the Department of Water and Power, is the one in charge with flowing of water. I think if you are a firefighter or you're a fire chief and you're going to be pulling water from at least a reservoir, she may not have control about the pipes and all that other stuff. She should be known and be aware of, hey, this reservoir is, full or empty or what. At least that. I don't know. It's a toss up on that one. My opinion, yeah, she should know about, hey, this reservoir is empty. Why don't we fill it up with water? Now, as far as if that's the case, which, I mean, it makes sense. Your job as a firefighter and you hook up to fire hydrants, it should be your job to just hook up the fire hydrant, turn on the water, fight the fire. Now, as far as Department of Water and Power not doing their job, then yeah, then they pretty much screwed all of LA County and the fire department. And I'm actually going to do another reaction video with the person in charge of Department of Water Power and their issues. But yeah, so if that's the case, then yeah, the water department screwed LA County and screwed the firefighters when they literally had to sit there and watch houses get burned. As far as her, I still feel that she needs to be held accountable for other stuff, but I'll say my piece at the end.
They're going to figure out a way to do the best they can with what they've got in a very dynamic situation.
And I know you expressed concerns that those DWP hydrants would not be inspected thoroughly because of the budget cuts.
that is something to discuss, and we're going to look into that in regard to how we can ensure there's going to be water when we need it. But in the end, I'm going to defer that to DWP and whomever else controls the supply. I can guarantee you that when our firefighters showed up on that day with what they had, they did absolutely everything they could do to rescue and to save people's lives and property. And that's the bottom line. Now let's get them what they need to do their jobs. And so
let's get them water, Chief, because I was with your firefighters and they literally were watching a house burn down with pain in their eyes, not being able to do anything except pull water from a swimming pool to try to save a nearby structure that wasn't burning, and literally watching a house burn to the ground because they had no water.
So once again, Karen Bass cut a lot of money, and just even recently it's been coming out. It actually came out yesterday. I posted my video about, my thoughts and opinions on Gavin Newsom, Crowley, and Karen Bass. Karen Bass asked the fire department to cut, I believe, $49 million. I'll have a picture. I'll put it up somewhere on here real quick. But yes, that came out yesterday. Not only did she cut the budget for the fire department, but she also asked for the fire department to cut another $49 million. So Karen Bass pretty much just totally screwed over the fire department. Like I said, Crowley also had some issues, and that also screwed California too. But I'll get into that later. But yeah, so there could have been fire hydrants inspections. There could have been saying, hey, there's not enough pressure coming out of here. What's going on? Let's go talk to the Department of Water and Power. Hey, oh my gosh, there's a reservoir that's completely empty and we didn't even know about it. And now we can't fight fires in the Palisades. For those of you who don't know, the reservoir they're talking about is in Pacific Palisades or near Pacific Palisades, and that's where they would draw their money. I think it's a 117 million gallon tank, and that's what they use to fight fires. And it was completely empty. It sat there. Gavin Newsom supposedly came out yesterday saying, we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to find out why it wasn't fixed or whatever, but we'll see what that happened. He was also supposed to do better strategies for 90,000 acres of land, and he didn't, and that's what burned. He only did 12,000 acres out of 90,000 acres for wildfire strategies and brush clearing and fire lines, but I digress.
That's exactly right. But did they continue to work, and did they continue to do what they had to do the best they could with what they had? Yes.
Chief follow-up. Thank you very much for talking to us. We appreciate it. I believe we have a follow-up question from the studio.
Question on that reservoir issue. Is the fire department aware of when these resources are depleted, just like that reservoir had no water? Was she aware of that fact, that it was under construction and there was no water there?
Sandra Endo, one of our anchors, wants to know if the department is advised that the Santa Ynez Reservoir was going to be emptied. Were you aware that there was no water there?
No, we weren't aware of that.
They don't have to advise you?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
See, that is wrong. So you should be advised that there's no water. Someone should tell you, or I'm pretty sure she knows about these reservoirs and just didn't give it a second thought. If it was me, and I'm going to use military. I am a squad leader. I am platoon commander, right? Not even the guy in charge. But if we are low on ammo, I'm not going to sit there and say, well, that's supplies job. Hopefully they got ammo for us on the front lines when FPF happens, final protective fire. Hopefully if we're on this convoy, we got ammo. I'm going to be hounding supply. I'm like, hey, did ammo come in? Hey, did ammo come in? What's going on? When do we get it? How long? Can we pull ammo from another unit or whatever? But that's what we do. That's what we do. And that's what we're taught, be ready, be prepared, all that other good stuff. And that's at the platoon level, So I can imagine like a company commander, a battalion commander, so on and so forth. But for you to be overall in charge and your ammo to fight fire is water, and you to not care, oh, well, we just hook up the fire hydrants and that's it. That's kind of on you, not totally on Karen Bass firing you and all that. But that is pretty much on you.
So you had no idea that there wasn't such needed resource?
No, we weren't.
All right. Chief Kristin Crowley, again, Chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department. Thank you for talking to us. I know it's been a very exhaustive, emotional, and I imagine you're mad, and I imagine you're sad. You may not want to talk about that anger or that disappointment, but I can see it in your eyes. Thank you. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll send it back to you.
Well,
period.
So there you have it. Let's go on to the next interview, and I'll give my reaction on that one. But as you can see, she was hesitant to call people out, but she did. Shots fired. Even looking at her face right now, she ain't happy. She probably knows she's going to get asked some hard questions right now. So, of course, as soon as this came out, everybody wanted to talk to her. And sure enough, CNN hit her up and say, hey, let's talk to her. And being that she's like, popping shots at people.
Let me be clear. The $17 million budget cut and the elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus. So with that, we have over 100 fire apparatus out of service, and having these apparatus in the proper amount of mechanics would have helped. And so it did absolutely negatively impact. I want to also be clear.
So she's talking about the budget cuts. There was $17.6 million removed from their budget, which went on to fund other things, or Karen Bass used that money to fund other things, which I'll put the picture somewhere around here. As you can see, that have nothing to do with saving lives. Now, here's another issue is that Gavin Newsom sent fire trucks, firefighting equipment, and equipment for National Guard all to Ukraine. So with that budget cut, why did they do that? We're going to send all this equipment to Ukraine, and then we're going to cut your budget. So Karen Bass knows that this stuff was sent to Ukraine when it could have been utilized here, and then still decided to cut their budget. Totally wrong, totally screwing over the firefighters, the frontline warriors, call it, and the people of Los Angeles who depend on the fire department and pay their tax, pay their money, which I imagine they pay a lot of money. That's why I moved out of California, because of cost of living. So they pay all this money in taxes and city taxes, sales taxes, all that other stuff, just to have all that equipment sent off to Ukraine. Fast forward, now we're in the situation we're in.
That I have, over the last 3 years, been clear that the fire department needs help. We can no longer sustain where we are. We do not have enough firefighters. With that, I have also...
So back in good old 2020, back in the COVID days, they terminated about 113 to 130, depends on how you look. For sure 113, but they also terminated more firefighters after that. So I think the number was roughly around 130. So being shorthanded, you fire firefighters. She came into power, or she got whatever, was given this position in 2022, I believe. Could be wrong. Go ahead and correct me in the comments below. But she came in after these firefighters got terminated without pay. She could have rehired them, but instead she wanted to push her own agenda. She wanted to push the agenda that, hey, we need to have more people like me. We need to have more people. We need to have more females, which I have no problem with. If a female or male can do the job, because I know a lot of people are saying, there's the reason why there's not many females is because of the job. It comes down to this: whether you're male or female, if you can do the job, you should be hired for the job. Your sexual orientation or the people you like to date should not be a concern of who you want to hire. You can't come in here and say, we need to have more LGBTQ, DEI, lesbians hired, female hired. We need to focus on just this group, only this group right here, to be firefighters. So you can take it how you want. If you think I'm talking trash, I'm not talking trash. Literally, if you could do the job, then we should hire you. Don't care what your sexual orientation is. Don't care what your religion is. If a house is on fire, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, no, don't save me because you're gay, you're a lesbian, you're this, you're that, you're tall, you're short, you're fat, you're skinny. As long as you can physically do the job and the job that is required of you to be a firefighter, that's all that should matter. That's all that should matter. Not who you like to date, what your preference is. That's what you should focus on when it comes to recruiting. So because of that, I think that's her fault why people didn't want to become firefighters. People don't want to deal with that. Same with the military. They're pushing down the throats of all the military personnel this whole DEI crap, and that's why no one's joining, because they don't want to deal with that. They rather spend their time doing else. So if you're doing that at the firefighter level, that's why your numbers are low. That's why, because of what you did. So that's what you did wrong. That's your fault. You're the problem when it comes to that, why your numbers are so low. Your equipment, okay, we could pass that on to Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom, but as far as your numbers, that's on you.
Requested multiple budgets, interim budgets, to show how understaffed, under-resourced, and underfunded the LEFD is. So with that, also we have clear data that shows the LEFD needs more help. We need 62 more fire stations. These reports also show that we've had a 55% increase in overall call volume since 2010. And guess what? We're doing it with less firefighters. I was also directed to develop a plan as part of a budget reduction exercise, and that could equate to $48.8 million. And I rang the bell that these additional cuts could be very, very devastating for our ability to provide public safety.
So it's interesting because she says that she was supposed to simulate a budget cut and what it would look like if 48 million was removed. And lo and behold, Karen Bass asked the fire chief to remove 49 million from her budget. So it went from Karen Bass wanted to simulate, or hey, let's have a hypothetical, to hey, cut 49 million, one more million than what the hypothetical was. So there you go. So because of that, that's another way of her, calling her shot, or popping shots at, Karen Bass and calling people out. This time, not on a local station like you saw in the last video or the last interview, but at a national level on CNN.
That would have resulted to 15 fire stations closing down and potentially the elimination of over 300 firefighters. Again, I want to be clear that I submitted a very large budget that will actually allow our firefighters to do their job.
So not only that, back in December 7th, she submitted to the fire commission also saying, hey, I can't do my job. My guys and girls can't do their job either because you guys keep cutting our funding. And if something major like, I don't know, a wildfire happens, we're not going to be able to do anything. So there you go. Those are the interviews. The one that was done locally on Fox 11, I believe. And this one that happened later after that on CNN. And then lo and behold, she gets fired. So there you have it. She was fired because she called out Karen Bass. She said Karen Bass failed her. Everybody there failed her. Powers that be failed her. I do think she is part of the blame as far as not being aware of certain things that I would imagine she should know. If you're a fire chief, there's stuff that you should know. If your main weapon to fight fires, your main ammunition is water, you should know where the water is coming from, such as a reservoir being empty. You should have known that. Saying that that's on someone else, I don't think that's a good answer because, like I said, if this was combat and I'm a platoon commander or whatever, and my platoon runs out of ammunition, I'm going to be, oh, well, that was supply's fault. Sorry, guys. That's on her. You may not know about the pipes and where they lead and go and where they're at locally underground and all that other stuff, but the fire hydrant part and the reservoir part, I think, should be part of your job, and everything in between, should be the Department of Water and Power as far as the plumbing. Speaking of plumbing, my next video I'm going to do will be a reaction video of the person in charge of Department of Water Power, and that one is very interesting. With that video reaction, I'm going to say some stuff about her too. But Karen Bass got her feelings hurt because she was called out and she fired Crowley, so now Crowley is no longer the fire chief. Like I said, DEI is what's getting people DIE in Los Angeles. But let me know what you think. Comment below. Also, like, share, and subscribe. And pass on to other people that may like this video or want to be informed or get informed or say what they want to say and comment below. Maybe they have a different point of view. I don't mind. Comment below. Thank you for watching. Take care. Be vigilant. Take care of one another. I hope everybody's safe. I hope the fires just magically, by the grace of God, just bam, stops on a dime. Just no more fires. But take care. Be safe. Carry on.